Hi, everyone. My name is Lexis Green, the founder of Women Stand Tall. I'm going to be answering 15 questions about healing.
All right, so let's get right into it. Is the journey easy?
Is the healing journey easy? No, it is not. It is very difficult. You do need people who understand that process to really support you because when you're going through healing work, it's usually like you're up and then you're down, you're up and you're down, and your emotions are all over the place. So you do need people who are going to understand that some days are going to be a lot heavier than others. Certain things may come up that might have happened 5 years ago, but had been living inside of you. So the healing journey, it's not easy, and you do need support.
Nice. So is it safe to say that the healing journey is for everyone? Like, who is it for?
The healing journey is for people who are open to the process. It's everyone needs it for sure. Like healing is for every single human being on the planet, but you have to be open to the experience. People do resist the process, and usually I find when people resist the process of healing, life is gonna like literally grab you by the ankle and drag you to where you need to be.
And when we talk about healing, are we healing from pain, from suffering? Is there a difference between pain and suffering?
Yes. So pain is kind of like maybe you go through it for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, maybe even a year or two. But eventually the pain stops. Suffering, however, is what I see a lot of people experiencing where it's like it's long and it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. And I think the thing about it is that so many people don't know that they're suffering. They're not in pain, they're suffering. They're literally experiencing something that is making them feel sad, discomfort, rage, anger, fear. So there is a difference when someone is in pain and when they're suffering.
And how long is the healing process?
The healing process never stops. You literally, it's like you climb one mountain, right? And there's like probably five others behind it. Like the process itself, it's like you'll heal different parts of yourself. There's levels to it, right? But once you heal something, it's like, okay, that's something you're well aware of. You know what that is. And then you go on to the next thing that needs to be explored. So yeah,
And when did you personally realize that you needed healing?
I knew when I was about 24, and the thing that reflected it to me that I needed some work was there was someone that I was dating, and something in me was like, this does not feel right. Like, you know, when you're a good person and you've put in the efforts for something, and then somebody mistreats you. And it was like this person was reflecting to me how I viewed myself. At the time, I didn't know it. But that was the time I knew something wasn't right because I felt the pain and suffering inside. Well, the suffering inside.
What was the toughest part of the process?
The toughest part about the healing process, whew, I think looking at the truth. I think the truth is what so many people avoid because, you know, they say, oh, the truth hurts. And yeah, it does. So I think like hearing the truth and then knowing that you have to be held accountable for your part in it as well, I think is also another hard thing. So the truth and then like being held accountable are like the two things along the healing process that's like really like hard to sit with.
And what would you say a lot of people's pain and suffering begins?
So a lot of people's pain and suffering begins in childhood. Because when you are a child, you are like a sponge. Like, as I speak about, chakras and energies and things like that, like, when we're kids, we're lights. Like, when you come into the world, you're very pure. Like, you're pristine. Like, you're new to this world. And what winds up happening is maybe it's your environment that you're raised in where things begin to rub off on you. Because children, they're very easy to influence. So a lot of people's pain and suffering can start in childhood. They pick up these different things and then they carry it with them into their adult life. So, for example, if someone has been molested or abused as a child, right? That these things can be carried on into the adulthood because you're going to develop a certain pattern or you'll react to certain people in a certain way who may remind you of a person who has done that to you. So there's so many different components to it, but many of people's suffering and pain, it starts within their childhood and it goes into their adulthood because there's an unawareness there.
Gotcha. So, what usually happens when you begin to heal?
So when you do start the healing process, what usually begins to happen is there are so many things. I'm like, oh my God. For sure, there is a lot of crying, right? Energetically, toxins are being released from your body, right? There's a lot of crying. There's a lot of reflecting, right? You're starting to reflect on certain things that have happened. You may be able to start to see things from a different angle. There might be a lot of questions that you have. Sometimes even when people begin to heal, there's like isolation. So they isolate themselves from other people, or there might be avoidance there too. You might be avoiding the truth. You may not want to hear it. Some other things that come up is some sort of feeling depressed, feeling sluggish, like you don't want to get out of bed. There are many things that happen in the healing process.
And is it safe to say there's influence from your ego or anything of that nature?
Oh yeah, so there's the higher self and the ego. Like, most people identify mainly with their ego, which is the ego has a certain narrative and story that this is how you are, like you are this way. And your ego is not your truth. Like, it's not who you truly are, but your higher self is. Like, your higher self is like love, light, positive. Like, it's really a force to reckon with. And a lot of people operate from this ego where it's like everything is really about me and what I want. And, and the ego, the reason why it's hard for people to heal a lot of the time, because the ego doesn't want to shift. It wants to stay this way. It wants to keep you in this manner, and it doesn't want you to change. But healing requires you to change and to be uncomfortable so that you can get to the higher self.
What are some tools or ways people can begin to heal?
There are many tools. I know a lot of people are doing therapy, right? Going to a therapist for that reflection, for that insight. Yoga. Some people do yoga to align the mind and the body. Some people do Reiki because they understand the chakras that are within the body and understand that each chakra has a function in the body. There is journaling, like writing out your truth. I've been journaling for since I was 16, and I'm 30 now. So I'm that's been therapeutic for me. Also movement, anything with movement, like dance, getting it out of your body is healing. So there are so many different ways people can heal.
books have you read to help you?
Mm, I read a couple of books. One of the first ones I think was Mastery of Love. It helped me with identifying with self love and how, you know, certain people think that love is supposed to be like this painful thing. I'm like, I don't subscribe to that, okay? I do not at all. I love myself and I'm here to share my love with someone, you know. So that's a book. Another book that I read was The Four Agreements, which really helped ground me in terms of like how I should like be moving throughout life and just not holding on to certain things, like to really help me focus on what's important on my personal journey. So yeah, I say that to say, you know, there are plenty of books out there for people to read in terms of healing, but those are the two that have come up for me. There's plenty of more, but I just can't remember them right now. So
Gotcha. Why do people ignore their personal healing journey if it's beneficial?
people ignore the personal healing journey because of the truth, the pain, all of the things. You know, people have a habit of sweeping things under the rug, you know? Like if I avoid that, I never have to deal with it in life. I never have to look at it. So you'll just sweep it under the rug. But when you sweep things under the rug, you know what happens? It begins to build. So there's like this big pile of dirt under this rug. And now there's like a lump under the rug. And that's what happens with people. People avoid it because they don't want to feel the pain. They don't want to feel it. So they avoid it. And when they avoid it, they're actually causing the suffering. You have to like literally peel back the layers to get to the truth. It's like peeling an onion. And as you do that, as you begin to heal and you peel back all these different layers, you're going to get to your core truth, to who you truly are, which is your light. And that's what Women Stand Tall is here to do, is here to bring people back to the truth. Your light. When you first come into the world, you're a light, pristine, clean. So, yeah.
What are 3 things that you have discovered on your healing journey?
The 3 things I discovered on my healing journey about myself. Well, the first thing I think I discovered was I needed to be more patient with myself, giving myself the space to actually take time to look at things, to not rush through the process. So I learned that I wasn't really a patient person, and that's something that I need to really, a virtue I need to really have is patience for myself. I also learned that I don't know it all. Like, I don't know every single thing. There are blind spots I have. There are blind spots that many people have that you can't see, but it takes someone coming in to reflect to you, like, this is what's really happening versus what you're paying attention to in your mind, the narrative. And the last thing I will say is the negative thoughts that we have about ourselves, they're not true. You know, those narratives, those stories that you've probably started in your childhood and carried with you into your adulthood, they're not true. Anything that is there to bring you down, to make you feel low or terrible about yourself, it's not for you. It doesn't serve you. And that's what I've learned. Like, those things are not true.
I imagine that support is a huge part of the healing process. So who supported you during your healing process?
I will say friends, like friends who understand the process, being able to talk to them about what I'm really feeling and not sugarcoating stuff. Like, yo, I really feel like shit today. Or like, I'm really sad. And having them speak truth and speak life into me and just nourish me with with love, you know. Also having people a part of the healing community. I'm a part of different communities where, you know, they are Reiki practitioners, doulas, or coaches who can really speak to you about what's the truth versus what you think is happening.
And when does the healing process stop? When does healing stop?
When does the healing process stop?
When does healing stop?
When does healing stop? So healing is it's always gonna be there, but there are like levels to it, you know? There might be something, you know, I'll use an example like dating for me. I had to like heal that. I had to heal that part of myself dating men and just understanding your worth. Because once you understand that, you heal that part. There's nobody, son, who can like walk into my lane and tell me anything. And I'm going to just be like, yes, for the sake of love. Like, absolutely not. If it's not aligned with what I want and my values, then this is something I can't subscribe to. The healing process is like, it'll be reflected to you in every day of your life. So, you know, there are, like I mentioned before, you climb one mountain, there's probably like 5 more, you know. So there's like levels to it. You'll pass level 1, level 2, level 3, and then, you know, you just keep going. So that's how that works.
Perfect. And last question. How has dedicating time to self-development impacted your life?
The minute I decided to dedicate time to my actual self-development and my healing journey, I realized that I became a lot more powerful, and I've been able to see past people. You know, I'm somebody that I can see past a person's persona, like how they, or their facade. I can see past what they're presenting to the world. So it's allowed me to see myself. And the fact that I can see myself clearly and see my truth, I can see others. I can see when people aren't in truth. I can see when people aren't honoring their truth. I can just see it. I feel it. And yeah, it's granted me that power to be able to see through people. And it's like, yo, I'm telling you, when you walk in your truth, it's different. Like, people want that. They want to be able to do that. And I've been able to like tap into that. So I'm just very thankful for it. So I hope you guys enjoyed those 15 questions that I answered. I hope it was helpful. I hope that it connected and resonated with somebody out there. But yeah, definitely take time to check us out on Instagram. Feel free to message us or email us if you have any questions.